at the beginning of the internet, before it birthed the world's biggest companies. What would you have done? Something much bigger than the internet is now coming, and it will end the internet as we know it. Here's a recent article from Forbes. The metaverse is coming, and it's a very big deal. It explains how the 2D search-based internet is being replaced by a fully 3D immersive world that mirrors on our world. This metaverse will totally change the way we live, learn, earn, and connect, and just like the internet in 1995, is coming much faster than we think. This is Fortnite, which in 3 years has attracted a mind-boggling 350 million players. They're spending over 3 billion hours a month in this virtual world, and it has already become a world way beyond the original first-person shooter game, with Party Royale joining Battle Royale this year. Marshmallow's live concert in Fortnite attracted a world record 10 million people last year, and Travis Scott more than doubled that in April with 27 million attending his virtual concert. Now imagine a world like this connected to our real world, where you can meet, shop, work, go to school, play games, be creative, and be whoever, frankly, you want, while teleporting or time traveling to wherever you want. That is the metaverse. It's already the vision of Fortnite's creator, Tim Sweeney, and he knows he's not alone in this race. From the Washington Post, Silicon Valley is racing to build the next version of the internet. Fortnite might get there first. Fortnite is a game, Sweeney tweeted in December 2019, but asked that question again in 12 months. It's now 1 year later, and Fortnite, at its current level of growth, is on track to hit 1 billion players within 3 years. And while that's happening, another billion-person net state has now also entered the metaverse. From VentureBeat, will Facebook Horizon be the first step toward the metaverse? The excitement around a metaverse is growing, and it's not just an idea from science fiction anymore. Facebook Horizon, a user-generated virtual reality world, might be one of the first steps toward creating one. While Fortnite is a 3D game on a 2D screen, Facebook Horizon is experienced in 3D virtual reality. It's now in beta testing and is likely to launch publicly within the year. Think of it like a first-person Sims, where you can create your own world, meet, socialize, share experiences, play games, and work together. As the metaverse takes over the internet, Facebook Horizon is going to take over from the 2D Facebook that we're all using today. So when exactly will this happen? As with all new technologies, it happens when 3 things come together: demand, software, and hardware. So number 1, demand. We've actually already reached a critical mass of demand. When the internet hit the mainstream in 1995, there was actually only 14 million people online at the time. There are already 2.5 billion gamers online experiencing virtual worlds every day. The global online games industry was worth $150 billion last year compared to just $41 billion for the entire movie industry. And the League of Legends World Championship was watched by 44 million people, and that compares to just 7.5 million for the NBA Finals. So our virtual selves are already ready and waiting for the metaverse. Number 2, software is also already here. While the internet was based on code to build websites, the metaverse is built with engines that create 3D worlds. The 2 biggest, Unreal Engine and Unity Engine, are already billion-dollar toolkits. Tim Sweeney, founder of Epic Games and Fortnite, is also the creator of the Unreal Engine. Unreal has been used to build not only Fortnite, but games like Final Fantasy, Microsoft's Gears of War, and many of the top Xbox and PlayStation games. And it's now being used more and more by Hollywood films to create hyper-realistic special effects scenes. On the other hand, the Unity engine is what Facebook is building Facebook Horizons with, and it's the engine that League of Legends, Pokemon Go, and many mobile AR, VR games are built on. And that includes everything from Activision's Call of Duty to Nintendo's Super Mario Run. So basically, Unreal and Unity are the metaverse equivalent of Android and iOS. From the Financial Times a few months ago, Epic and Unity revved their engines for the next era of entertainment. Last week, Epic Games, better known outside the industry as the creator of Fortnite, Battle Royale, closed a $1.8 billion round of funding, valuing the company at $17 billion. The deal includes last month's $250 million investment from Sony, which the PlayStation maker said would broaden their collaboration ahead of the PS5's release. Epic wants to use its new funding to play a lead role in developing the so-called metaverse and expansion of games into platforms for new kinds of social and entertainment experiences. If Epic achieves its vision of the metaverse, then its addressable market could grow from the entire global video gaming community to the entire global internet-connected population. Its rival Unity, meanwhile, has high bankers for a public listing expected later this year. said one person briefed on the matter, a move that would capitalize on its huge growth in mobile apps and fuel expansion into a much bigger addressable market beyond video gaming. These are two leading engines out of many, and there are other worlds that will meet in the metaverse that are creating their own engines. So for example, Minecraft, which has got 480 million players, Roblox with 160 million players, and Crossfire has got over 1 billion players, all having their own engines. The bottom line, both the demand and the software tools are in place for the metaverse. And before we get on to number 3, take a moment just to imagine how this metaverse is going to end the internet as we know it. No more Google search as we have our own virtual assistants doing the searching for us. No more keyboards as we walk and talk just like in the real world. No more apps as we just travel from world to world. No more screen time as we're simply accessing the metaverse via wearable devices. And no more storing by IP address, but actually by time and place in virtual reality. Markets, entire economies, and even countries will grow up in this virtual world. And we'll use it to access and enhance our existing world. Whether you experience the Eiffel Tower in real life or in a virtual world, or in real life via the eyes of a robot while you're in the metaverse in another part of the world, that's going to be entirely up to you. And in the next decade, for better or for worse, this is all going to be reality. The internet and mobile phone will be just as much a relic tomorrow as pagers and fax machines are today. How soon will this happen? That has everything to do with number 3, the hardware. As you're seeing, the metaverse is emerging out of the games market, and the world's 2.5 billion gamers are accessing the virtual worlds in 3 main ways. 45% by mobile, 30% by games console, and 25% by PC. All 3 are increasing in power and speed, and as 5G rolls out, it will increase mobile speeds by up to 100 times 4G. That's fast enough to create a seamless link between our real world and the metaverse. Everyone's racing to get out faster, cheaper wearables to access the metaverse. From Facebook's Oculus, Microsoft's HoloLens, and Sony's PlayStation VR, these clunky VR goggles are now being replaced by smart glasses. Here's the latest news. Facebook is launching smart glasses in 2021 with Ray-Ban. That's next year. Apple is likely to launch Apple Glass AR glasses by 2022. And Amazon has already launched with its Alexa-powered Amazon Echo frames, which are already being offered by invitation. And while it may be 5 years away before we have a fully seamless experience of our real world and the metaverse, we will already be living, learning, connecting, creating, and playing in it long before then. By 2024, we'll be spending more time in 3D virtual worlds than today's 2D internet. As for the internet, you'll either be watching this video on a wall of the metaverse or on the wall of a cafe through your smart glasses, or I'll be transformed into a 3D bot in your virtual world. So what do you think? Will the metaverse transform humanity for good? Will it result in a Ready Player One style universe or a dystopia like The Matrix? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you found this video eye-opening, please like and subscribe.
Hi, welcome to the Interaxis channel and Interaxis.io. Today we're going to talk a little bit about metaverses and discuss kind of what is a metaverse, why might it be important, what to look for, how cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, blockchain, NFTs, DAOs, how all that factors into things like a metaverse and why it's so important. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, follow us on Twitter at Interaxis8. Now, what is a metaverse? A metaverse in this world, and I apologize for those that are overly technical. I'm going to make this a little less technical because I want to try to help people understand. So I'm not going to be completely accurate on all the technicals, but I'm going to try to make people understand. So a metaverse is something like a virtual world. So we'll just call it that. It is a virtual world. Now, some of these virtual worlds that we've seen, that have seen come up are Decentraland. There's one called Somnium Space. There's one called Superworld. There's Cryptovoxels. Okay, so these are just some, and I know there are others, and I apologize. So these are kind of metaverses. Now, there's other aspects to metaverses, right? There's gaming. There's games that are metaverse related or metaverse style games. But these are essentially virtual worlds, virtual lands that are created, and they exist digitally. So within these virtual worlds, you can go buy land. And some of them, like Decentraland, for instance, have their own cryptocurrency called, the symbol is mana. The cryptocurrency is called Decentraland. The symbol is mana. And you have to own mana in order to buy land within Decentraland. So some of these other worlds you can buy using, you can just buy worlds using ETH. Superworld, for instance, actually is overlaid on top of an actual map of the world. So you can buy the virtual version or the digital version, the virtual version of real places in the world. So they have different use cases. Now, what is happening in these metaverses? What are people doing? Well, they're able to, again, build worlds. They're able to build buildings. They're able to have spaces that are theirs, and those could be, kind of virtual homes. We've seen virtual art galleries. We've seen racing that goes on. People have virtual vehicles, all sorts of virtual aspects there where people can get together, congregate, communicate, chat, share things. This is all happening within these metaverses. And you might think to yourself, this seems ridiculous, seems crazy. I can't believe people are actually getting together. They're just going to sit on the sofa or sit in their rooms and congregate in these fake worlds. And we see a lot of dismissal of that. That's for young kids. It's just like gaming. But if you really want to be honest and remember, 25 years ago, that was the internet. People said the same things about the internet. They said, why would I go to this weird web thing, this computer thing that I don't feel is very safe? Why would I start to buy things? Why would I chat with other people? Why would I get my news there? I get a newspaper. I can watch TV, right? I can record my shows on VHS tapes, or I can go to the store and buy things. We heard all of those things about the internet, but here we are. We chat. We have smartphones. I can call a car to come get me right now wherever I'm standing, and the car and the phone and Google and everyone will know exactly where I am. And whether or not you think that's good doesn't matter. It exists. It's out here. So what has happened now between cryptocurrency, something like NFTs, the huge rise of gaming and the interconnectedness, and of course what happened with the COVID pandemic is we have this huge rise in metaverses. And what has actually happened? Well, first, what happened was the internet brought everybody together, right? So you had people that were all dispersed all over from a geographic perspective. And I was close with certain people based on geography. I lived close to them. I worked close to them. I went to school close to them, whatever it might be. Geographically, this is how I found people. And if I wanted to find people with common interests, I kind of had to find people that were geographically close, or I had to go to where those people were, right? That's how I kept in touch with people. Then what happened was you had the internet. And the internet gave me the ability to find people that I want to be around, that have some of the same interest, and allowed us to converse, allowed us a place that we could go chat or talk about what we wanted to do. And of course, it started out as chat. It started out as chat rooms, message boards, emails. Eventually, it got into applications like Slack or Discord, or some places that we could go actually chat about things and do so in real time. Of course, more recently, we've seen things like Zoom and Google Meet and Microsoft Teams, ways that we can actually see each other and be in the same virtual room together talking about what we want to talk about. So what it took was people who had common interests, and those common interests were originally geographic. So I had to find people that liked what I like, people I want to talk about what I want to talk about with, that were actually close to me, or I had to go to them. Then the internet gave me the ability to actually converse with them and chat with them, but we don't have to be in the same room. It brought us together. What it didn't bring necessarily was money. What the internet didn't bring was the internet of money. Now, part of this internet, part of people that I want to do things with, of course, is gaming. And gaming being, we can play these multiplayer games where we can connect to each other, of course, with Xbox and gaming consoles like that, where people were able to connect gaming-wise and do things together, be a team or be against each other, whatever it might be, together. Now, within some of those games, and some of them were Xbox-related, some of them were computer-related, you could also earn things like weapons. Right, you could earn money within these games, but of course it only stayed within the game. It worked like credits. It worked like token, like Chuck E. Cheese token, like tokens you might have in your pocket, or some sort of credit you might have on a gift card. It only worked within that game. necessarily. So you have all these things starting to come together. The people are connecting with gaming, people are connecting with the internet. Then you have the advent of cryptocurrency, right? Now maybe we can have this currency that we can use that is native to our own little game or our own little group within here. That's what we've developed with cryptocurrency, right? Because now you don't need to have off-ramps necessarily. For this, if I had a weapon within a game, I had to use it within this particular game. If I had money that I earned within a game, I had to use it within this particular game. If I wanted to get money into the game, I had to somehow connect a bank account or a credit card or a debit card or something to the game. If I wanted to get money out, same thing, connect a credit card or a debit card or bank account. That's how I got in, that's how I got out with money or weapons or whatever it might be, and they didn't necessarily translate. So now what we have is the ability to potentially, instead of money, I can get cryptocurrency. So this could be ETH. This could be something like Mana in Decentraland. Okay, this could be, Axie for Axie Infinite. It could be something like that where I can bring things from out. I can bring cryptocurrency. I can take my fiat currency, my dollars, or crypto that I have, convert it to something that can be used within the game, but do so in a decentralized way, meaning I just connect my digital wallet, my ETH wallet, or my crypto wallet, and buy some of these tokens. And now I'm in the game and I have some sort of currency. I can start buying things. I can buy clothes. If it's not a game, if it's Decentraland and I just want to walk around Decentraland, I can buy clothes. I can potentially buy vehicles, whatever it might be. I can now go buy land. I can buy that plot within the virtual world. And why is that important? That's just the next iteration of buying a website, right? When you buy a website, you're buying digital land. You're buying digital real estate. That's what we actually used to call it. It was digital real estate. Well, now digital real estate can actually look like it's in 3 dimensions based on looking at it. It can be a building. Well, what can I do within that digital building? Well, what if I want to display my NFT art? Can't I have an NFT art gallery within there? Of course I can. And then the people that want to go look at my art, maybe I want to charge them. Right? Well, in order to get into my building, you have to have a certain token or a certain amount of mana tokens or something. Or you've purchased my NFT. You've purchased some of my art before. So now you get to come in and look at that art within my gallery. Or maybe within my gallery, if you want to display your art, you come and you show that you own this particular NFT, this token, and all of a sudden your art gets showed in my gallery in this virtual world. Well, why would people want to go play in this virtual world? It's because we have shown that people want to connect with others that have similar interests, and those people are not necessarily geographically close. Now, with the internet, we can connect to people and we can form communities that are not based on geography, that are based on interest, based on people that we want to connect to. And with cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, now we have money that can also connect us. So within our little group, within our group that we want to connect with, and when I say little, it could be a monstrous group, and that group could be within a game. It could be within a metaverse. We can connect and we can have a currency within there, and that way we don't necessarily have to go back to fiat currency. We don't have to rely on bank rails to be able to transact within this metaverse. We can do it all with cryptocurrency. We can show things off, whether it's a car or clothes we're wearing or NFT art, or provide a loan. I can put up a bank in a metaverse and start providing decentralized loans to people within this metaverse, and it can all be based on DeFi. The cool part is, if some of these weapons or some of these money some of this money I have, whether it's within a game or a metaverse, if it's crypto related, I can take it out of there without having to connect to a bank and maybe utilize it in a different metaverse or a different game. Maybe a weapon that I have in this game, maybe it's an NFT based sword or something, maybe I can take that NFT somewhere to some other game, and maybe it shows up as a gun. Maybe it still shows up as a sword. Maybe it shows up with some sort of attribute that I didn't think it would have on some other game. Now they're interchangeable. Now I can be with other people who just want to play different games, and just because I build up weapons or money or something of value in one game doesn't mean that I have to keep playing that one. Maybe I can go try others now because I have it. And the combination of metaverse, of this next iteration of internet, the fact that now I can have digital real estate, plus cryptocurrency, plus NFTs, again, plus what happened with COVID, where everyone had to be home, and from a geographic perspective, you couldn't go find those people that had the same interest. You had to connect with them online. It happened much faster. So now what you have is you have communities being built up online through the internet and moving to metaverses where you can create buildings, you can create real estate, you can create entire worlds that have some level of value there. You can show movies within it. You can have concerts within here. You can give people tickets to virtual concerts that are only happening on a metaverse. The only way you can see and hear is by having these tokens and being close to that building in the metaverse. Well, now that building that shows that that has that concert or shows that art has value within the metaverse. You can charge rent. I can charge you rent to be able to display your NFTs here. And by the way, everyone who comes in now, you're going to get a small cut of that. It actually opens up monster economies because now people can be digitally connected and have their money digitally connected within these metaverse worlds. So, to anyone who is dismissing metaverses, dismissing virtual worlds like Decentraland and Somnium and Superworld and crypto voxels, and I apologize to any of the others that I'm missing. Anyone who's dismissing something like that, anyone who's dismissing virtual gaming because they say it's for kids and it's for people who aren't social. This is hyper social. This is the ability to actually converse with people you want to converse with. It's better. It makes you happier to be around people you want to be with. And now you can have an economy around it. You have currency around it. You have assets that you can hold within there. You can have DeFi related applications within some of these metaverses. It's extremely important. They can be governed by something like a DAO. You can have your own area within there potentially and your own government within the virtual world. Now, of course, there are some that are actually bridging onto the actual world to say, look, we're going to have this virtual land, and if you own this virtual land, it will sync up with actual land, with actual property. And maybe by owning the virtual land, you can buy the real life land and build something on it, and you own it digitally and you own it in real life. This is just happening, okay? And this is what metaverses are. And so again, anyone who dismisses it as something that kids play with or techies play with or something that isn't going to make it, look at where the internet was 25 years ago and think about whether you thought we were going to get to this point where we had YouTube, we had social media influencers, we were able to watch anything we wanted to watch, whether it's movies or TV or whatever, online through your computer or through your TV at home, which is essentially now just a conduit for a computer. Did you think that was going to happen? Did you think it was going to be that big, that you were going to be able to do everything you can do from your smartphone? 25 years ago, you just dismissed this internet thing as something that only kids did, and it was ridiculous. And why don't we just want to have a phone call with someone or see someone in person? And the internet is where it is today. The metaverse is the next logical step for that. Okay, so the metaverses are going to be very important. It's just a digital representation of what we're trying to do anyway, a virtual representation of worlds and lands. And some of it is, this is how I would like for people to see myself. This is how I can be relatively anonymous and go into these worlds and be myself, be who I really want to be. So metaverses are going to be extremely important. Again, we're not telling people you should invest in them. We're not telling people you should buy any certain tokens. What we're saying is, there is a huge real potential economy here. There's huge real potential businesses that are going to be built on these metaverses, and it's going to be so interesting to see all the creativity that's going to go into building. We've already seen auction houses built in there. We've seen entertainment venues built within these metaverses. We've seen the prices go up tremendously already, and we're probably going to see that continue. So we wanted to talk a little bit about metaverses, why it's going to be so important in the near and distant future, and it's potentially one of the biggest things between metaverses and NFTs, the biggest advents, the biggest things to come out of blockchain technology, because it's just the next logical step in the internet. So we hope you enjoyed this. We hope
Talk to you guys about the metaverse, which definitely falls under thematic type investing, right? I'm talking something like themes like genomic revolution, next generation internet, robotics, or what have you. This is definitely one of those themes. Now, ARK Invest talked about this in a little bit in their 2021 Big Ideas podcast, but they really didn't go into detail. And I wanted to explore this topic a little bit further. Now, I'm certainly not one of the world's most foremost experts in this topic, and I definitely called in some help from the folks in my Patreon group, and one gentleman in particular has helped me prepare all of this information today. And so I wanted to really just give him a shout out on the channel and let you guys know that yes, I do have a Patreon. It's in the link below. It's a really great group of smart investors who can help take your portfolio to your knowledge to that next level. All right. Anyway, so let's dive into this. And I wanted to start off by quoting a Forbes article, or really just paraphrasing a Forbes article, just to kind of set the stage here for the rest of this video. So imagine that you're walking down the street and suddenly you think of a product that you need. And immediately next to you, a vending machine appears, a virtual one, of course, filled with the product and all the different variations that you were thinking of. You stop, you pick up an item from the machine, it's shipped to your house, and then you continue on your way, right? So you're interacting in the real world, but also in this virtual space, right? So next, imagine that a husband and a wife, and the husband goes to the store, but the wife can't remember the name of the type of product that she needs. So her brain-computer interface device recognizes it for her and transmits the link to her husband's device, along with the list of stores and all the aisles that it's located in. So welcome to the metaverse, folks. Alternate digital realities where people work, play, and socialize. You can call it the metaverse, the mirror world, the AR cloud, the magicverse or spatial internet, or even just live maps. But one thing is certain, it's coming and it's a big deal. Now, I paraphrased that from an article in Forbes that came out a few years ago, and it really caught my attention. So I decided to look a little bit deeper into this sector, and I realized just how much disruption is really unfolding right before our very eyes. Holographic brain surgery, the US Army utilizing augmented reality technologies for military night vision goggles, 3D virtual concerts, 3D home walkthroughs, digital real estate, the iPhone Measure app that uses a camera to measure dimensions. Holograms now have always been something, of a bit of science fiction that you'd see in movies like Avatar, Iron Man, Prometheus, or Black Panther, or something like that. However, it appears that this fictional hologram that we always viewed as maybe impossible or pretty far off into the future is becoming a reality at this point. An augmented reality, an augmented virtual reality, that is, that exceeds the, what's happening in video games at this time, and that's really what I'm here to talk about today. Like I mentioned before, folks, many of you have probably read ARK Invest's 2021 Big Ideas report, where they mentioned the metaverse in passing, but they didn't really go into the types of companies that are involved in this, the types of industries that could be impacted by the overall disruption that this newly found space is actually bringing about. ARK's team primarily focuses on the video game industry and its monetization, but the real opportunity I feel in this space lies outside of video game monetization. These three new innovations, augmented reality, virtual reality, and the metaverse, can really be incorporated by most companies that we know and think of today, and really each and every individual's life in some aspect. So what is virtual reality? By true definition, virtual reality is the use of computer technology to create some sort of simulated environment. Imagine it like this. This is where you put on the actual headsets that go over your eyes, that separate you from the reality that you and I normally interact in and bring you into a completely different world. It's a little bit different from augmented reality, which is augmenting the current world that we all exist in. So, two of the most popular augmented reality examples are Pokemon Go and Snapchat. This is where you're looking at a 2D screen, however, you're seeing a 3D hologram placed on your device. A great example of augmented reality is NFL football games. Many folks are surprised to hear that the yellow lines that you see on your screen in many cases on the football field aren't really there. Additionally, in fields like brain surgery, augmented reality can be used to digitally and visually show where certain features of the brain are located in any human's head without having to make any surgical incisions. So what is the metaverse? The metaverse, by definition, is a collective of virtual shared space created by the convergence of visually enhanced physical reality and physically persistent visual space. A few of the most prominent examples today are things like Decentraland, which is built on the Ethereum network, Facebook Horizon, and VR Chat. Some also might remember a video game called Second Life that was launched in 2003. Some of the companies that are likely to come to mind when you think about this metaverse space are companies like Facebook's Oculus, Snapchat, Pokemon Go, which was probably the most successful AR video game of all time, which, by the way, was made through Unity's software platform. Unity is a company that trades publicly. You might be thinking about Fortnite and their virtual concert experiences, or even something like Dwight Schrute and, from The Office and his Second Life virtual world video game. However, this space actually goes a lot deeper than that. Think about all the different ways that you could possibly commercialize this through corporate settings, social gatherings, things like bars, restaurants, schools, medical and surgical procedures, therapy, golfing, or any type of other sport. And these opportunities are really kind of endless at this point. And with that being said, how do we know that we're on the forefront of this revolution right now, of this disruption? And I think that a lot of people don't realize that we're really sort of on the precipice here. So I'm going to leave a link in the description to this scholarly article that I'm going to quote right now. And it's about augmented reality and how it's going to make surgery safer and more efficient. As written in the article, it states that an augmented reality system provides the surgeon with computer processed imaging data in real time via dedicated hardware and software. The projection of AR is made possible by using displays, projectors, cameras, trackers, and or other specialized equipment. The most basic method is to superimpose a CG image on real-world imagery captured by the camera and displaying the combination of those two on a computer, tablet PC, or video projector. In case it is impossible to mount a video projector in the operating room, a portable video projection device has been designed. The main advantage of the augmented reality system is that the surgeon is not forced to look away from the surgical site as opposed to the most common visualization techniques. So look, folks, we're on the edge of something really big here, and I'm not going to pretend like I know how everything is going to shake out. So what I wanted to do with the rest of this video is talk about a bunch of companies that are involved in either the virtual reality or augmented reality space, talk a little bit about how they are involved, and sort of turn you guys loose and let you do your own due diligence to understand this space better. And as time goes on and we get a little bit more clarity as far as what direction this metaverse is going, I'll do more videos and get a little bit more specific. So here it goes. Right now, let's talk about the 5 biggest VR companies. So the 5 biggest companies right now that are involved in the virtual reality space are all technology mainstays that you folks have heard of before. And starting at number 1, that is Samsung, Google, Microsoft, Sony, and Intel. It should be noted, however, that Samsung, although they do have the best-selling virtual reality headset out there, it's actually powered by the Oculus technology that's owned by Facebook. If you recall, way back in 2014, Facebook acquired Oculus in a deal that was worth about $2 billion, which in a lot of ways was the deal that sort of re-sparked interest in virtual reality and the augmented reality space. Samsung's headset retails for about $129.99, and if you compare it to the Oculus Quest 2 or the Oculus Rift S at $299, it's a pretty good deal. Google also has a large share of the current VR market by devices sold, not by revenue. They offer a cardboard device that allows you to view things. It's like a virtual reality viewer, and you can buy that for anywhere between $8 and $40. So way back in the 1990s, I was an early investor in virtual reality technologies. At the time, there was a lot of press and a lot of articles that were written that sort of pumped this as the next best thing in technology, and I bought it. I fully admit that. And I made investments in several companies, and by 2001, every single one of those companies had either been acquired for pennies on the dollar or they had failed outright. And this sort of mirrored my experience later on with being a super early investor in 3D printing technologies. So, look, on the surface of things, it always appeared that virtual reality was going to be the next greatest thing and the technology that really took us to that next level of integration between the human experience and the computer world. Now, though, it appears like that's not really the case. It's augmented reality that's really going to be that doorway into that future human integration with technology. Look, augmented reality is coming, and it's likely coming sooner than you think. And it's potentially going to change the way we live life for each and every one of us for every single day. There are already newfound augmented realities such as, Earth2.io, and someone in my Patreon group brought this up because it relates to the concept also that's very popular right now, which is the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens. Earth2.io aims to bring people and technologies together by creating a robust location-based game platform and technologies platform which supports strong virtual communities and strong virtual economies. Earth2 is going to be a place that's going to be all about bringing people and virtual representations of places together. So I got a lot of really great ideas from an article that was pointed out to me by someone in my Patreon group, and it's titled 39 Ways That AR Can Change the World. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description, but I'm going to quote a few things from that article just to sort of set you guys off on the path to discovering this on your own. So imagine supervisors walking the floor of any business with a fighter pilot style display in front of their eyes. Supervisors can read performance data instantly to help employees with difficult issues or identify employees that are falling behind. This augmented reality pinpoints problems and issues in real time and shows supervisors where to devote time and effort to have the best outcomes and to be effective. Another thing that's going to be possible with augmented reality is you're going to be able to virtually map your space and only view products that are going to fill that space, which is going to save time and frustration. So augmented reality is finally going to end the debate of what size TV to buy and if the couch is going to fit through your door. These augmented reality principles are already being proven for those with sensory impairments, partially sighted people, and it's helping them to see using high contrast versions of what's in front of them, making edges more visible and making it easier for them to navigate their space. Augmented reality is going to make hazardous jobs safer. You're going to have the ability to expose workers to potentially hazardous environments from the safety of a classroom with the option to repeat those lessons as often as necessary. And this is going to demonstrate the value of augmented reality training and all that it can provide over traditional practices. Now, folks, there are only a couple of different augmented reality technology products available to the public, and I'm talking wearable technology that you can put over your eyes and kind of interact and have a 3D experience in the real world. And the product that I'm thinking of is Snapchat Spectacles, which, by the way, for me, that was a tongue twister, and I had to redo this section like 5 times. So Snapchat Spectacles are tangible, real glasses that bring that 3D experience into the real world for you while you're actually living it. The current product, Spectacles 3, retails for about $380 and comes in either tan or black. I'm going to leave a link to a description and a review of the Snapchat Spectacles in the description here so you guys can look at it yourself. I don't know who this YouTuber was. I just happen to enjoy the review. These glasses can integrate filters into your vision just like you see on your phone through Snapchat. Like hard sparks bouncing across infrastructure or give everyone dog faces or whatever it is that you want to do. But the issue with the hardware currently is that it requires you to interact with your Snapchat application on your smartphone in order to make changes, which shows that this is a technology that is still in the development stage. And I'm looking for this to get more interesting, easier to use, and more streamlined in the future. All right, folks, so I know that this is a harder video to grasp or even understand, or it may seem like a jumbled mess at this point, but really it shouldn't make a ton of sense at this point because the metaverse is still, it's like an evolving ecosystem. We're not really going to understand everything that's involved with the metaverse until it gets close to its final form. I think the biggest question right now, out of many, many questions, is whether or not this is going to end up being a centralized or decentralized platform. I know that just based on my personality, I would prefer that it's a decentralized platform. Unfortunately, we don't always get what we want. I hope, though, that it is clear that the metaverse is going to be here at some point, and it's going to be a big deal. It's going to take a while to develop, and it's not going to be understood for quite some time. But here's why it's really going to happen. This metaverse is going to be a new economy that spans both the virtual and the real world, and I think that's the most important point. It's going to be a brand new economy. Now I'm going to paraphrase another article here, and I'm going to say that the metaverse is going to be a persistent and synchronized live living universe that's going to provide each of us a sense of presence and agency where we participate in an extensive economy that transcends individual experiences and perhaps even the physical and digital world. If you folks haven't heard of a concept called Decentraland, I'm also going to leave a link to decentraland.org in the description below, and this is something that's really fascinating. It's a decentralized native currency that's built on Ethereum's blockchain network that represents a virtual world video game. You're a character in the game and you interact with other players in real time. You can interact through working together to build the game further and make more content, or you can use the game to profit through flipping items in real world currency or game currency, which is called Mana, the Decentraland token. The key to this here, and why this is really a separate reality and a separate economy that spans both normal reality and this virtual reality, is that the metaverse is always on and it's going to be experienced live and in real time, and it can host any size audience. It's going to have this fully functioning economy, and it's going to span across multiple platforms as well as digital and physical realms. Think augmented reality, virtual reality, and like reality. It's going to allow digital assets to be carried across platforms. Users are going to go across platforms, and content is going to be created by individuals and huge corporations alike. Take a look at something like the Roblox gaming platform, which has 120 million users and huge ambitions when it comes to the metaverse, and offers a similar list of descriptors. It's immersive, persistent, vast, and diverse, and it enables each user to have a core identity across multiple experiences. It has a social network component. It enables seamless access from any device and has its own economy and is governed by rules and order that are determined by its users. The metaverse really has the potential to become the next great labor platform, giving individuals diversity of opportunity through access to high-value virtual economies. New creators are going to have the chance to build a large following on this virgin platform, much like YouTube was back in 2005, 2006, 2007. Furthermore, these new companies or individuals are going to need to create and manage similar new technologies. This includes new payment processing, new identification, new security, and delivery of technologies, among other things. This is really a revolution in the making, folks. The problem is it's really hard to determine how to get ahead of this and how to ride this wave, right? How to invest in this. And I'm going to be exploring more and more of these ideas of how to invest in this as we go along. So as a final note here, folks, according to ARK Invest's Big Ideas 2021 report, where they really didn't go into as great a detail as I would have liked, ARK Invest did state that they believe that video games could become a sort of third place away from work and may increase the value of this industry from $130 billion a year to about $350 billion a year by 2025, with virtual worlds being valued at close to $400 billion by 2025. And the augmented reality market growing from about $1 billion a year today to roughly $130 billion in 2030. So I think it's pretty clear, folks, that there is a giant opportunity here. It's actually just kind of hard to define. So, folks, I realize that this video is a little bit less disorganized than the ones I normally make. That can really be laid at my feet here. The research that I got from the folks in my Patreon group is absolutely excellent. I just got very excited while I was making this and all the different possibilities and really sort of a new economy that's sort of developing under our feet right now. But that is all I have for today. Thanks again. This is Jason from Fighting Words Financial. Comment below on what companies that you think are going to be involved in this space or are going to dominate, or you think that there's some companies that I left out. And if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you give me a like.
Only a few months ago, the term NFT was exploding all over the internet.
Now to the latest trend, the skyrocketing prices for digital art sold as NFTs.
The Christie's auction for digital artist Beeple coming to a close a few moments ago. The final bid, $69 million.
$69 million?
I think it probably means digital art is here to stay.
Anybody in this sector has to admit that they were shocked by the size and the ferocity and speed that the industry evolved so quickly.
The number of wallets that were purchasing NFTs skyrocketed. The number of transactions of NFTs across the board skyrocketed. And the prices for many NFT artists also went up. But that came down very, very fast.
Once red hot, NFTs are now cooling off a bit.
The secondary market for the majority of people's paintings today is down 95% from the peak, as is most NFT art.
But even more recently, NFTs have been on the rise once again. And even with significant value volatility in NFT artwork, NFT collectibles like NBA Top Shot and NFT-based video games like Axie Infinity have surged in popularity.
The correction that kind of happened with the NFT art side is healthy. And what we're going to see come out of that now are projects that actually have utility, that'll be able to affect a much wider amount of people. And I think that's where the excitement is.
And many companies are betting that NFTs will enter the video game world in a big way, which, if successful, could open NFTs to a massive new audience and forever change the way we value digital objects.
We are in the process of an exodus from the physical world to these digital worlds that have been created over the last 20 years and that continue to be created, and where people are spending an increasing amount of their conscious time.
You may have heard by now that NFTs stands for non-fungible token. But explaining exactly what that means can get complicated. So for our purposes, what you need to know is that through blockchain technology, digital objects like a JPEG file or a virtual sneaker or even a meme that you'd normally think about as being infinitely reproducible can now be made scarce. So for example, if you're resourceful, the video you're watching right now could be downloaded from YouTube, and you could copy and paste it as much as you'd like. In theory, it is infinitely reproducible. Tokenizing or minting is the process you can go through via blockchain, where you can create a record of scarcity. In the blockchain, you can enter into a ledger that there are only 1,000 versions of this video, or 100, or even just one, taking something that was infinitely replicatable and giving it artificial scarcity. And if you're rushing out to try and download this video now, thinking you'll make a quick buck, that's not exactly how it works. Only the holder of the NFT in what are known as digital wallets can actually own the item, and they can choose to resell them in exchange for cryptocurrencies. But while we have seen some high sale prices, are buying these NFTs actually a good investment?
I would hesitate to call NFTs an asset class. They are an asset. In the same way that I would hesitate to call art an asset class. Art is an asset. But for it to be an asset class, it really needs to be something that you can buy and sell and buy and sell.
This is Bloomberg's art reporter, James Tarmy.
So all you have to do when you think about the art market and you think about the prices that are paid for these $10 million paintings, $20 million paintings, $30 million paintings, is think about what kind of liquidity you need to have to spend $30 million on something that you cannot resell anytime soon. There is not a line of people waiting to spend $30 million on the painting that you just bought. There might be one other person or maybe two other people, but that's no guarantee that those two other people want to buy that painting when you want to sell that painting.
And this is similar in the NFT space. The number of people able to spend large sums of cryptocurrency on NFTs is relatively small.
And a lot of people became very interested in jumping on the bandwagon. There was a world that was opened up to a general public that they didn't know about, and that seemed like a world of infinite possibilities. And so corporations suddenly started releasing NFTs. Charmin toilet paper released an NFT. I just got an email about Campbell Soup's first NFT. And this isn't just about artworks. This is also about the various NFTs that are connected to games and virtual worlds and so forth. People are connecting houses to NFTs. They're connecting physical artworks to NFTs. They're connecting portions of an entire soccer team in a Mexican soccer league to NFTs. And then something weird started to happen, right? More people were making NFTs than buying NFTs. So you had a lot of people trying to jump on a bandwagon that might not really have existed in the first place.
And while the initial boom of interest did drive more people to participate in the NFT marketplace than before, those numbers are still relatively small. According to a 2021 report by nonfungible.com, weekly active wallets, in theory, the number of people who bought and sold NFTs in a given week, peaked at only 40,000. And if NFTs are going to become the asset class of the digital future, the number of buyers and sellers in the market must increase by a lot.
There's still a tremendous amount of friction. To get a MetaMask wallet, to understand the idea of holding private keys, to engage with this world, it's a process.
This is Sam Engelbart. He's the general partner at a venture business called Galaxy Interactive. They currently manage a $500 million fund investing in technology and content aimed towards the future of digital worlds.
I spend a lot of time these days first trying to just define what the metaverse is and then make sure we're all talking about the same thing, because I think we're still quite a ways away from an immersive world like Ready Player One being something that we all inhabit.
Except for eating, sleeping, and bathroom breaks, whatever people want to do, they do it in the Oasis.
I think we are very, very close and witnessing every day, though, the exodus from a purely physical world to an increasingly immersive synthetic digital world that doesn't look like one place we all go to, but is actually just the amalgamation of the different digital worlds that we experience on our various devices.
And a lot of players are investing in this future digital world. A recent Bloomberg intelligence report believes that the market opportunity for the metaverse could be $800 billion by 2024. And for Galaxy Interactive, one of their biggest investments has been in gaming.
I don't believe long term that just by making something an NFT, it's going to be interesting enough to be all that meaningful unless you build some sort of a game or metagame into the process of collecting itself.
Merging NFTs with games has already seen some great success. One of the earliest breakout NFTs was CryptoKitties, cartoon cats that users can buy, sell, and even breed. The NFT became so popular at one point that it clogged the entire Ethereum network back in 2017, and it continues to have an active community today. And one of the drivers of increased digital wallets post the NFT boom in early 2021 has been a game called Axie Infinity. These Pokemon-like creatures are all unique NFTs that a user can buy into and level up by playing in a new business model known as play to earn.
What could be better than a free game? Well, how about a game that pays you to play it?
So far, it's allowed people in developing economies like the Philippines and Vietnam to earn real money through playing. And now a team of veteran video game developers at Mythical Games are working on their first NFT-based game, Blankos Block Party.
With real toys in real life, the way to keep their value is you put them in the box, you put them on the shelf, you leave them there. But with Blankos, as you play with them, they get better.
Most games, if you bought a Spider-Man character or you bought a League of Legends skin, they're virtual items. They stay within that ecosystem. Once you buy them, you've bought them, right? There's nothing else you could really do with them at that point. And what we're doing in the kind of experimentation with Blankos is players own them. They can sell these assets, they can level them up and mash them up to create new ones and all that. So it really gives the players a lot of freedom to build, play, and earn.
This is Mythical Games CEO John Linden. He sees games as a great means to introduce more people into the NFT and crypto world.
So one of the goals at Mythical was we really wanted to bring this concept of blockchain and NFT assets to the mainstream gamer, right? So maybe someone that doesn't fully understand crypto and is not, an investor in Ethereum. We really wanted to make sure that they could partake in this economy.
And his success in this space isn't necessarily about having big, headline-grabbing single asset sales, but rather having a much larger volume of sales overall.
We're not thinking about it in terms of a $10 item that's worth $1 million the next day. We're thinking about it in terms of a $10 item that becomes worth $25. And a $25 item that becomes worth $40. And a $40 item that becomes worth $75. And those are still, if you think about it, those are amazing. They don't sound sexy, but they're amazing returns on investments, right? So we're definitely thinking about it in terms of something that's attainable, something that the average consumer can actually partake in.
Latest trades, $55, $20.
Not kind of a new fine art to where only a very few select people can actually see that appreciation because the numbers are just so ridiculous that you can't participate.
But growing the market for NFTs currently can come at some pretty large costs. Each transaction requires a ton of energy from computers all around the world, potentially resulting in increased carbon emissions. And although the Ethereum network is hard at work to reduce its overall energy consumption, it does remain to this day too high to support a scaled version of this model.
What we're starting to see technologically now is the need to advance the underlying tech so that you can have a business around the purchase and sale and trading of objects that are $1, $5, $20, $50.
That's partly why Mythical Games is using their own blockchain technology within their Mythical economic engine. But it's also because they believe that creating and selling an NFT game engine will help create more NFT games in the future.
What we set out to do at the very beginning was to build this economic engine to where we could ultimately have a lot of the top games in the world be able to access this type of technology, have the regulatory side covered, have access to marketplace tech, things that normal game studios wouldn't be building themselves. We think that this type of economy will really permeate through every game type. And honestly, I can see almost every game out there could have some version of this.
But building the technology is only the first step to building value. Gaming also offers another important step in this process: community.
Blockchain doesn't make a game better. We kind of joke here that if your game sucks without blockchain, it's going to suck with blockchain, right?
What makes this technology powerful and interesting is the ability to ignite a community. And if you build the right community, then the things you own, digital objects in a lot of cases, will be valuable within that community. And people are going to want to own them, and they're going to want to trade them amongst each other.
We've seen an amazing community form around Blankos. And even before the game came out, we had about $1 million of Blankos sold because players saw that value and they collaborated with each other. And we're excited by the outcome of where that could go.
For someone outside of the Blankos community, it might seem outrageous to spend $5,000 on a virtual doll. Just like for many, it's outrageous to spend $69 million on this Beeples piece, or for spending $120,000 on a banana duct taped to a wall.
Value for things that have no use value is entirely the result of perception. A Picasso is just oil paint on canvas. It's worth nothing, it does nothing. It is valuable because we as a society have decided that it's valuable. Could NFTs become a brief, weird piece of history? Absolutely. Could they become an integral part of the way that we engage with each other and companies online? Absolutely.